are really excited.
And this is a lot of people.
They're already kneeling at the mics to, raise your hands if you're kneeling at the mic to ask a question. See, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, Sierra. My girlfriend just had me read the love language book, so I mean, you know, I've been hanging out with Cairo. I think, you know, acts of, you know, what's the acts of service?
Yeah.
I think as the Fire Lord would be one of the top ones on the list, you know. He's working on words of affirmation. Not there yet. So beautiful when you hate the world. He told me that. So that's words of affirmation, you know. So those two will work, I think.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a good question, Sam. You know, I was at New York City Comic Con the other, you know, like last year, and some guy came to my signing, and he was like, you know, he told me he grew up with the show, which was like great. I was like, yeah, man, I'm glad we're there for you. And he goes, no, you don't understand. I go, what? He goes, you programmed our generation. I said, what? He goes, you programmed our generation. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, you don't understand that our generation, we grew up watching the show, and we were listening. You understand? It's no coincidence that our generation is a generation that brought back protests, Black Lives Matter movement, all the yeah. He looked at me and he said, we're trying to get the world back in balance. And I think that's the impact of the show, which is amazing. It gave me chills when he told me. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Dante.
Wow. What's your name?
Jake.
What is it?
Jake.
Jake? He would say Jake. He'd be imitating, you know, his uncle. Jake, you have to look within yourself and ask yourself the big questions. Who are you? And what do you want? And good luck on raising this new kid. I hope he's a firebender. Excuse me?
Can I give you this?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Fire Nation forever, you guys.
And I think all of us can think of some redemption arcs that are basically, oh, this guy killed tons of people, but he has an endearing personality, so we'll forgive him. Zuko's redemption is not that. Zuko sets the gold standard for redemption arcs. What do you think helped Zuko's arc, his journey, hit so many chords that so many other redemption arcs missed?
It's one of those things, like when I was going through it, I really didn't even realize he was going to get redeemed myself. I just thought I was going to be the villain on this show. And I was just as surprised as a lot of people out there, you know? But I think when I'm going back and watching the show for Breaking the Elements podcast with Janet Varney. Yeah. And it's such a personification of just like, I think we all see ourselves in Zuko. Like, I think ultimately, just as, you know, us as people, we love redemption arcs because we all want to be redeemed by somebody, somewhere, for something we've done. And there's just a very human way that they went about it. Like, you really see, he doesn't get it in one foul swoop. He has to really earn it. I mean, he fights, he yells the first season, like, I must regain my honor. And he thought he was gonna get it one way, but he ends up regaining his honor at the end, but not in the way he planned. And I think that's one of those lessons that we all get to learn with him. That was definitely scripted. And when I first started doing cons and got into the con world, that's one of the lines where like, can you write this on my picture? And I'm like, what? Write what? And they're like, just write that's rough, buddy. Why? It's just one of those lines, and you just do these. It's fascinating that how certain lines have become iconic for certain characters, especially for Zuko, and mainly just certain things like Bangarang. You're like, oh, Bangarang, of course, like, be Bangarang for sure. But then they're like, that line, honor, I'm like, why? And then, you know, I searched it on YouTube and I'm like, oh, that's why. But it's a line that, honestly, it just was a line in a scene that when we were recording it, I don't think I particularly remembered saying the line, but when I saw it, you're like, it's hilarious. And it is like, well, that's rough, buddy. Like you know those movie stars, big movie stars, Robin too. They're like they have something about them when they talk to you, like everyone else disappears. You know, like Antonio's talking to you, got a little Spanish accent going on. He's like Dante, you know. He's and you're like, God, he's sexy, this guy. I would leave the set like once a week, and I was doing Avatar, and one day he pulled me aside and he's like, Dante, where are you going? I go, I do this cartoon thing for Nickelodeon. He goes, oh, you're a voice actor. I go, yeah. He goes, I'm a voice actor too. And I'm like, I know you're Puss in Boots. I know who you are, Antonio. But I love Antonio Banderas, and he's such a good guy. I love that he's like, we're both voice actors. I'm like, thank you for putting us together in a group. What was the first question?
What roles do you get recognized for the most?
I've been Rufio since I was 15, and so I've been Rufio my life longer than I haven't been Rufio.
Oh, I have an older sister, I know.
Oh, so Rufio.
Yeah.
We could be anywhere. Me, you could be walking around the mall. Someone's gonna chant Rufio at me or scream bang or people honking horns. I'm at a cafe. I mean, Rufio is forever, right? And Rufio's cool. Rufio's cool. But Prince Zuko, which is crazy because it's a cartoon. Prince Zuko's a cartoon. And I was walking on the street and people bow to me. Which is good. And people that don't know, like Avatar, have no clue. You know, I have friends that are like, they're a little older, they just missed Avatar. And they're like, why is this person bowing to you? It's because I'm the Fire Lord. I mean, I'm excited to see what Netflix does, for sure. I'm cautious. I'm cautious only because, like, I'm Avatar family, so I want everything that's Avatar to do well, first and foremost, for sure. I'm cautious because, we know a few things. We know the last live action, which I did not see. And I'm a fan of M. Night, and just sometimes things don't go right. But I mean, there's not a great track record for live action versions of animated things, right? I mean, Cowboy Bebop, even the great Disney. They do things that are like cool. We're like, why? Did we really need? I don't know if we really needed live action Aladdin. I don't know if we needed it. Not saying it was bad. It's like, did we need that?
They have to.
Beauty and the Beast was cool, but it's like, why? So I'm cautious. But that being said, the new Zuko, Dallas Liu. He reached out to me before they were shooting and wanted to talk about Zuko, and I was like, yeah, for sure. And we got to have a great conversation, and he's a good kid. And I just gave him my point of view of how I played it and what I thought, and I was like, he got my number, like, call me anytime. And I just also told him, like, it's your turn. It's your turn, man. It was like you, me, Dev, we're the guys that played Zuko. and he's a great character. So like, take your time. Like, don't play the end at the beginning. Like, you have to start where he's at, and then work your way through the story. You know what I'm saying? And I met with the producers and I talked with them, and they seem like good folks, and their heart's in the right place, and I think they have a good shot to make something happen. So I'm looking forward to what comes out, and so we wish him the best. This is the thing about actors. Any actors in the house? Actors in the house. You know, for actors, it's like there's this old saying. You know, when you're learning acting, it's like you're stuck with the character, and the character's stuck with you. So ultimately, like I said, a lot of us are gonna play. You know, Deb played him. This kid Dallas is gonna play him. Like a lot of us are gonna play Zuko. But when you're playing the character, you kind of just gotta play the character where you and the character intersect. Like that's where you play it. And so when you do that, there's a lot of you in the character. So I think when I rewatch the show and I think about who I was at that time and what I was going through, there's a lot of me and Zuko, for sure. And then, but there's a lot of the character, you know, but Zuko's himself. So I learned a lot from Zuko. And so there's a lot of Zuko in me now. It's a weird relationship you have with these characters. A lot of it is you. For actors out there, that's the one kind of catch that they don't always teach you in acting class. It's like we spend all this time to get technique and to do the research and try to, you know, kind of really flesh out a real character. But when they say throw it out, it's like, oh wait, when you do it, throw all that away and then play the character. Like, oh, what does that mean? That means now have the courage to show yourself. Like reveal yourself. That's the real rub. It's like with all that work and who the character is, like, can you have the courage to like really just have the vulnerability to kind of show a piece of yourself for real? And so there's a lot of me in Zuko for sure. Thank you.
That's Steve. Thank you.
I mean, well, first and foremost, Mako, who's the original actor who played Uncle Iroh, and yes, rest in peace, Mako. And then after his passing, of course, brilliantly played by Greg Baldwin, who also I love dearly, amazing guy. But we had, you know, me and Mako go back. Like Mako has played my uncle or my father in my career like 4 times. Like, first time was he played my uncle when I was 12 in a movie called Perfect Weapon. And so we've had that relationship. Like Mako, for people that don't know Mako beyond Avatar, he's like one of the most prolific Asian American actors in Hollywood over the last 50 plus years. Yeah. He was nominated for an Oscar for Sand Pebbles with Steve McQueen, and he started a theater company in Los Angeles called East West Players, which is Asian American theater that I also grew up in, which is the longest running theater, I think, in America with people of color. So I did plays there, I wrote plays there, and so he is Uncle Iroh. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was one of those guys throughout my careers, through my teenage years, through my 20s, my 30s, that I was, you know, just by working with him, I was back with him. And you know, he's checking in on me, like, how's the career? What are you working on? What's going on? And even in his passing, he taught me, like, Uncle Iroh lessons. Around that time, right at that time, I started producing movies, and I started producing Asian American films exclusively, just because, you know, I wanted to give the next generation just some opportunities that I didn't have coming up as a young actor. Yeah, and that was really lessons learned by Mako, because Mako created, in his time, he created a theater company, and I got to get value from that theater company and opportunities from that theater company. And as I look forward, I was like, let me create a production company. And so I produced and created vehicles for cast like Kev Jumba, and produced Justin Chong's first movie, and I just released a film that I directed called The Fabulous Filipino Brothers. And so, me, not making a transition, but adding to like my hats from actor to now producer, director, and again, creating other opportunities for more people than just yourself is like the lesson left to me by Mako in his passing. So thank you. I don't remember most takes, but I do remember like yelling at the lightning. Like yelling and screaming, and the legendary director Andre Ramon was like, "Go for it, just do what. Let's do it again." I'm gonna lose my voice, but I just all that emotional stuff where like Zuko's really like mad at the world and like it just again this one's question earlier like why do people really love Zuko? Because I think he's misunderstood, and I think we all feel so misunderstood at times. Like people don't get us, and they don't. Until they do, hopefully, But those scenes, I do remember the scene. I forget what episode it was, but it was when he's like, he goes to the mountain by himself. He's trying to get struck by lightning. He's yelling, and that scene really. I remember doing that scene. It was a heavy one. Thank you.
Thank you.
I grew up in Hollywood, and Hollywood's a rough town. It's a great town. It's a rough town, especially for kid actors. And I was having a whole conversation in the green room with Christy Romano, about kid actors growing up. Corey Feldman's here, who's also a good friend of mine, and we're all kid actors. And kid actors growing up, there's abuse, there's trauma, there's things that we go through. And as kids in Hollywood, which it's kids everywhere, have their own thing, and that's part of it. There's like Hollywood, you want the love. Of whatever, of the studios, of the right projects, the right movies, and a lot of times you don't feel you get your comeuppance to a degree. You're trying to fight for the love, but there comes a time in your career too where you start to go and you start to talk to other actors like, no, it's not about getting validation. You should not let, you tell young actors like, look, you know who's good, you know if you're good or not, you know who did the work, you know what you can do and what you do. Don't ever let like your resume or your bank account, affect like who you are. Know who you are. And so there's a little bit of that too. That's how I kind of connect with it sometimes. It's like understanding that when he's trying to fight to be who he is and reclaim who he is, the good parts and the bad parts of it, that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't need anyone to stamp our passports. Like, that's yours. It's you. You're enough. You're good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Why are you asking that?
It's just, it's my job as your sister.
It's a very prank. I'm trying to think of something PG-13. I don't know. People are funny on us. We pull pranks on each other a lot. Stuntmen are the worst, for sure. They are just dirty sometimes, and they'll just like use your trailer. Like this is a big one they do. They like use your trailer on the set, and they'll and they won't flush, and then they'll turn the heat on. And they'll just leave. And then you walk in like, they got me. They got me good. Let's air this thing out. I thought I was gonna be here for a little rest and relaxation before the next shot, but I guess I'm not. But don't give me ideas, Azula.
Well, I might just have to use it. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ready?
To the J. To the A. To the A. To the E.
I'm the Mac Daddy Dragon of the NYC. You heard?